Here are 5 reasons you should retire as soon as you possibly can. And before you say, "I'm not ready," or "I don't have enough saved," just stay with me, because these 5 reasons are going to completely change how you think about that decision. But make sure you watch until the very end, because reason number 5 is the one that will genuinely catch you off guard, especially coming from someone who spends every single day deep inside the numbers.
Let's start with reason number 1, and it's the one most people completely dismiss: your health. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "I feel fine," hear me out, because that's exactly the problem. You feel fine because you've been doing this so long, you've forgotten what not stressed actually feels like. Think about it. The deadlines, the emails at 9 p.m., the client who never seems happy, the project that's always over budget, always behind schedule, always somehow your problem to fix. You don't feel that as stress anymore. You've normalized it. It's just Tuesday. There's actually a concept for this. It's called the boiling frog effect. You drop a frog into boiling water, it jumps out immediately. But you put that same frog in cool water and slowly turn up the heat, it never notices. That's your career. The temperature has been rising for 20, maybe 30 years, and you've just adapted. But your body hasn't. Your cardiovascular system hasn't. Your cortisol levels haven't. The research on chronic workplace stress is brutal, and most Americans carrying a full career, a mortgage, maybe aging parents, are sitting in water that is dangerously close to boiling. And here's the part that should genuinely concern you. The damage from long-term chronic stress doesn't announce itself. It doesn't send a calendar invite. It shows up one afternoon as a stroke, or a heart attack, or a diagnosis that reframes everything overnight. And suddenly, that retirement you were going to start next year looks very different. Maybe it doesn't happen at all. Now think about the financial cost of that for a second. You spent decades building a portfolio worth $500,000, maybe $1 million, maybe more, and the plan was always enjoy it later, travel later, rest later, spend time with the grandkids later. But later has a deadline, and unlike your portfolio, you cannot diversify your way out of bad health. You cannot rebalance your way back from a stroke. The opportunity cost of staying in a high-stress career 1, 2, 3 years longer than necessary isn't just measured in years of your life, it's measured in the quality of every single year that follows. So ask yourself honestly, not what your doctor says at your annual checkup, but how do you actually feel? Not compared to when you were sick, compared to when you were 25. Because that gap, that's what your career has been quietly costing you. And no salary, no matter how comfortable, is worth what you cannot buy back.
Reason number 2. And this one is simple, but simple doesn't mean easy to accept. Time. That's it. Just time. You can make more money. You can rebuild a depleted savings account. You can recover a portfolio after a market crash. History has proven that over and over again. But you cannot, under any circumstances, make more time. Not with money, not with discipline, not with the best financial advisor in the country. Time is the only truly non-renewable resource you will ever own. And right now, you are trading it every single week for a paycheck. Now look, that trade made sense for a long time. You had a mortgage to pay, kids to put through college, a retirement account that needed feeding. That trade was necessary. But here's the question nobody asks out loud. At what point does that trade stop making sense? Let's do some honest math. If you have a solid investment portfolio today and you're earning somewhere around 7% annually, that portfolio doubles roughly every 10 years. So yes, working another decade means more money, significantly more money. But what does that decade actually cost you? 10 years of Monday mornings you didn't want to face? 10 years of vacations cut short because of work obligations? 10 years of watching your kids, then your grandkids, grow up mostly without you present. 10 years of your body quietly aging under the pressure we just talked about in the last section. Is doubling your portfolio worth that? For some people, maybe. But for most people who actually sit down and think about it honestly, the answer is no. And here's something worth knowing. The people who retire and look back almost never say, "I wish I had worked longer." Almost never. But the ones who waited too long, the ones who chased one more year, then another, a lot of them say exactly that. "I wish I had stopped sooner. I wish I had used that time differently." Because you can always find a reason to work one more year. The market is uncertain. The economy feels shaky. Your number isn't quite there yet. There will always be a reason. But time doesn't wait for your number to feel right. It just keeps moving.
Reason number 3. And this one hits differently. Relationships. Now, if you've been heads down, building your career, building your portfolio, doing everything right financially, there's a good chance some of your most important relationships have been running on fumes. Not because you're a bad person, not because you don't care, but because building a financially stable life in America is genuinely demanding. It takes everything you have. And relationships, real ones, deep ones, require one thing above everything else: time. That same non-renewable resource we just talked about. Think about your parents for a second. If they're still here, how much time are you actually spending with them? Not a holiday visit, not a quick phone call between meetings. Real time, unhurried time. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: that window is closing. Slowly, then suddenly. And when it closes, no amount of money makes you feel better about how you spent those final years. Now think about your kids. Maybe they're grown now. Maybe they have kids of their own. And those grandkids, they're growing up fast. Faster than your kids did, or at least that's how it feels. And right now, while you're still healthy, still sharp, still fully present, you could be there for that. Not on a weekend, not on a 2-week vacation once a year. Actually, consistently, meaningfully there. That's something money genuinely cannot replicate. And then there are friendships, the ones that have quietly faded because life got busy, because careers got demanding, because there was always something more urgent. Retirement gives you back the ability to invest in those relationships properly, to show up, to be present, to build new friendships too, with people who actually have time for each other. Here's the perspective shift that matters. You spent decades optimizing your financial portfolio, allocating capital carefully, protecting your assets, growing your net worth. But your relationship portfolio has probably been significantly underinvested. And unlike the stock market, there is no recovery window for time you didn't spend with people who needed you there. So factor that into your retirement equation, not just the numbers, but the people. Reason number 4, and this one is quietly the most underrated of all 5. Hobbies, passions, the things that make you, you. Not your job title, not your salary bracket, not your LinkedIn profile. Just you. Think back for a second. Before the career took over, before the mortgage, before the college funds and the retirement accounts, and the relentless cycle of responsibilities. Who were you? What did you actually enjoy doing? For a lot of people, that question is genuinely hard to answer because it's been so long, the person underneath the career has become almost a stranger. And that's not dramatic. That's just what decades of financial obligation does to a person. But here's what retirement actually gives you. For the first time since you were maybe 18 years old, real freedom, genuine freedom, not 2 weeks of PTO, not a long weekend, actual unstructured time to figure out who you are outside of what you do for money. Now, a lot of people immediately say travel, and travel is wonderful, but here's an honest observation.
Travel is often more exhausting than people expect. It pulls you out of your routine. It disorients you. And for many people, after the first few trips, the novelty quietly fades. So think of travel as an appetizer, not the entire meal. The real richness of retirement comes from building something, learning something, contributing something. Maybe it's finally picking up the instrument you abandoned at 22. Maybe it's learning a new language. Maybe it's mentoring someone younger in your industry. Maybe it's building something with your hands, writing something, teaching something. The point is this: you have spent decades allocating your most valuable resource, your time, almost entirely toward wealth accumulation, which was smart, which was necessary. But wealth accumulation was never supposed to be the destination. It was always supposed to be the vehicle. The question retirement forces you to answer is, now that you have the vehicle, where are you actually going? And the people who thrive in retirement are the ones who have an honest answer to that question before they get there. Start thinking about that now.
And now, reason number 5, the one I told you to stay for. Here it is. You are probably already financially ready to retire. Right now. Today. Not in 3 years, not when the market stabilizes, not when you hit that exact number you wrote down somewhere 5 years ago. Right now. And the reason nobody tells you this is because it's not a comfortable thing to say out loud. The entire financial industry is built around one core idea: more. More savings, more contributions, more years of accumulation, more optimization. And look, that advice isn't wrong exactly. More is generally better when it comes to building wealth. But here's what that advice quietly ignores. At some point, more money stops buying more happiness, stops buying more freedom, stops buying more health. And the relentless pursuit of a bigger number starts costing you the very things retirement was supposed to give you. So let's talk about this practically. Say your retirement goal was $1 million, and right now you're sitting at $900,000, 90% of the way there. The question most people ask is, how do I get to 100%? The question you should actually be asking is, do I really need that last 10% badly enough to trade another 2 or 3 years of my life for it? Because here is the honest mathematical reality. You are adaptable. Your spending is adjustable, and a well-structured retirement plan built around $900,000 with reasonable spending discipline will very likely outlast you. The plan doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to be close enough. And close enough is actually a sophisticated financial position, not a compromise, not settling, a deliberate, rational, intelligent decision. There is actually a name for the trap on the other side of this: one more year syndrome. Just one more year and the plan looks better. Just one more year and the number feels safer. Just one more year becomes 5 more years, becomes a decade, becomes a retirement that starts when your health already has. And here's the quiet irony of that trap. Every additional year you spend chasing perfect is a year of retirement you permanently remove from the other end. The math works both ways. So if you are close, genuinely close, stop waiting for perfect. Perfect is not coming, but your retirement absolutely can.